Well, then let me change it. Let me change the statement. Some would say your opinion, saying that Zack Snyder is your favorite director, then that just says, damn, dude, that opinion sucks big monkey cock.
It's weird that there's a apparent obsession with monkey cock. You got that going for you. So, Adison Miller, the movie review killer. What are we here to discuss today?
We're going to discuss our favorite directors.
Interesting. So, who was your favorite director?
Damn, dude. I have like a few.
Okay.
Wes Anderson, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I like his. I don't know who does Wes Anderson do the cinematography too, or does he have someone for that?
You know, I'm not actually sure.
Okay, well, either way, like, I mainly like Wes Anderson movies because of the quirkiness of them and just the straight on shots and how symmetrical they are. I really like that, and it's very pleasing to my eyes.
It's nice to look at, which is good for a film. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really nice to look at. And then I think as of like recently, I'm gonna say Tarantino, because I've actually have never really seen a Tarantino movie until last year.
My goodness.
I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time last year, and it was good. I really enjoyed it, and then I started watching the other ones because they're all on Netflix, and I really like them. He's just a really good. He writes them, right? The screenplays.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really solid stories, and I enjoy that.
They really are. I think out of all the Tarantino movies that I've seen, I think Pulp Fiction is probably my favorite one. They're all good, but something about Pulp Fiction just kind of stood out.
Man, is there any other one that I really liked Jackie Brown, but it's nowhere near as good as Pulp Fiction.
No.
And then Hateful Eight was really good, but it was definitely not as mainstream as you would like. Yeah. It's not a mainstream. What the fuck am I saying?
Mainstream?
Yeah, it's not a mainstream sort of story, and the way they went about it, how everything was pretty much just in the cabin. What other movie has done that? I'm sure there's other movies.
Well, it's just in one place. The first one that comes to my mind is Clue with Tim Curry. The movie came out about the 80s.
I'm such a fucking idiot. I was gonna go and be like, that's not mainstream. It's totally fucking mainstream. What am I saying? I don't know. But yeah. Classic Adison. Classic Adison. What about yourself? Speak.
Well, one of my favorite
directors.
Speak,
my young one.
One of my favorites, I gotta go with Zack Snyder. I just loved what he did with Man of Steel and BVS.
You gotta say what the fuck you're saying. BVS?
Oh, BVS, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Yeah. I preferred the Ultimate Edition just because that was what he actually wanted to make, and it wasn't the cut down theatrical version.
Just want to let everyone know I think that movie sucked cock. Continue.
Wow, sounds like a different discussion for a different time. But the thing with Man of Steel, I liked how he grounded the character of Superman, and he gave a reason why Superman was Superman, because it was the origin story, and it was still him it was him kind of stepping into Superman's boots per se. It was evolving him as a character, and then that obviously carried out to Batman vs. Superman, and then even to Justice League. So
what?
He just kind of really delved into the psychology of the character, which I thought was really cool and something I hadn't really seen before in the other movies, at least to that extent.
One would say Zack Snyder is not one of the best directors of all time.
Well,
as myself. Well, what would you say to those people? What would you say to the people that say, "Hey, man, I think Zack Snyder sucks, big monkey cock"?
I would say that the topic of this discussion is not who is the best filmmaker, but who is our personal favorite. So
okay,
their
then
argument
let me change
does
that.
not matter. It does not qualify. It is thus invalid.
Well, then let me change it. Let me change the statement. Some would say your opinion saying that Zack Snyder is your favorite director, then that just says, damn, dude, that opinion sucks big monkey cock.
It's weird that there's a apparent obsession with monkey cock, but having said that, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I like Zack Snyder as a director, and
do you like his?
Fuck off, just in general.
Just to give a little cherry on top. Hey man.
Yeah, just a little
fuck yourself.
Little cherry and whipped cream on that.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the way his movies look in terms of like the costume design and just overall color palette of the film?
Yeah, I like that it's because he started doing the DC movies after Marvel, and I don't completely have a problem with the Marvel movies, but they were always kind of more bright and shiny, and I like that with the Snyder, not quite the Snyderverse, but the Snyder DC movies that he did. I like that it was.
Wait, hold up. They call it the Snyderverse? It
was originally going to be the Snyderverse, yeah, but then people weren't really feeling Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice, and that was
not only that, but they really weren't feeling the title Snyderverse.
I mean, shit, they're the ones who called it the Snyderverse, so it'd be weird that they called it something that they didn't like. Are you talking about them or you?
Me.
Ah, yes. Anyway, what was I saying? What was the question?
The question was, do you like the color palette of the Snyder films and how they look?
Yeah, I like that it's a darker color palette. It just kind of makes it seem more like a grounded, gritty, kind of serious story.
And it separates itself more from the Marvel.
Yeah, and it differentiates. It creates its own kind of distinct feel and atmosphere.
And you dig it. You dig it a lot more than. No, okay, so that's not technically just, you're not choosing like, oh, I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe over the DC Universe. You like Zack Snyder's films as one of your top favorite films of all time.
Yeah, well, two of them.
Oh,
Man of Steel and BVS.
What other?
Batman versus Superman.
Have you seen the what's that one movie he did? Like the first one. He did a Dawn of the Dead remake, right?
Yeah, I think that was like 2004. I haven't seen it yet, but it's definitely on my to-do list.
Have you seen 300?
I saw 300. It has been, it's been years since I saw 300. I like that one. And also he does do like a lot of comic book movies, and I think one of the things that he does, which I appreciate, is like he makes it seem like they kind of leapt off the page, because a lot of the frames in his films are the frames from the comic book also, like the kind of iconic. Do you think that's creative, or do you think that's just taking shit from that someone else did? Well, do you think that's like? I can see what you're saying, but it's not like he's copying it and then saying it's his own thing. He's acknowledging what the original comic was doing. He's just making it live action, basically.
Do you think it would have been a better decision to do his own shit and not completely rip the pages out of the comic book and just
he does
that in his film? It's his film.
Yeah, he does his own stuff, but he also he pays homage to it by having those.
So it's okay. So you would say it's, but do you think he should have? Do you think that's a good decision, or do you think that's like, man, you're not really being creative with it?
I think it's a pretty good decision.
So do you think, what I'm trying to get at?
Yes, ask the question.
What would you prefer more? Would you prefer creativity, or would you prefer paying homage?
Homage, yeah. Well, all of his films are pretty creative, because Man of Steel, it wasn't a direct adaptation of one comic.
Okay.
BVS wasn't a direct adaptation of one comic. 300 was that was a pretty direct adaptation, but even then, we know it was it was an adaptation.
And you weren't even saying that 300 was one of your favorite films.
No, I think it's a pretty good film, but it's not one of my favorites. Man of Steel was an original story. BVS was its own original story, but it paid homage to a lot of kind of iconic moments. BVS mostly from The Dark Knight Returns, and Man of Steel. I don't think it paid specific homage to anything. I think it was just it was just a retelling of the mythology of Superman. So you said Wes Anderson was one of yours.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I think maybe it's because they're very, in a way, kind of. For some reason, the word that's coming to my brain is innocence, but I think that's kind of just me thinking of Moonrise Kingdom. But like it's like for that movie, the child actors that he wasn't going for Oscar-winning performances from them.
Mm-hmm.
He was really directing them to just, kind of be like how a child actor would be, and kind of
how a child actor would be, or just how a child in that situation would be.
A child actor would be, because they're not the greatest actors.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go out for those actors. They were very dry. They kind of didn't really seem to give all that much emotion in their performance, and they're very dry, but that's what he was going for, and it really works well in that sort of that really works well with the cinematography of that film, because everything is real, like, just pan, like, not pan, what the fuck am I saying, what would you say, straight on, just straightforward shot.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's really nicely laid out, and then the actors just being that way is it really works well.
So is Moonrise Kingdom your favorite movie from Wes Anderson, or is that just like the first one that comes to mind when you think of Wes Anderson?
That one and Grand Budapest Hotel are probably my favorite ones.
Okay.
I didn't like Fantastic Mr. Fox all that much, but probably because I wasn't really paying it that much attention to it. But yeah, I would definitely say Moonrise Kingdom and Grand Budapest Hotel are my favorite. But it's such a weird thing. Like, Moonrise Kingdom is like totally fucking different from Grand Budapest, but you can tell it's a Wes Anderson film.
He just kind of creates like the same tone and atmosphere for all of his films, yeah.
Yeah, but the Grand Budapest is a lot grittier, and there's like, have you seen that movie?
I have not.
It's totally not child appropriate like Moonrise Kingdom is a little. Like, Moonrise Kingdom was around, it was kind of focusing on children and like love relationships when you're 13 years old and stuff like that.
I never had that when I was 13 years old.
Oh.
Nobody loved me back then.
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, well, same here.
Yeah, it was a rough childhood.
Anyway, it was really kind of just going around that sort of premise, and then Grand Budapest is a lot more complex. You have this hotel, like this extremely luxurious hotel, and then the guy that owns it is getting money because he's banging old broads that are like filthy fucking rich, and so that's what he was doing, and then one of them dies, and then he gets like this really awesome painting, like in her will, like she sends it to him, and everyone's like, what the fuck? Everyone didn't, like, the son wanted the painting and he's all pissed, and now he's like trying to get that, and there's like, I don't know, just not child friendly stuff, but you can totally tell it's a Wes Anderson film, and I think that's what I like a lot about it, is that he has a style, and he has a very distinctive style, and that's kind of what I look for when it comes to favorite directors. Like, Stanley Kubrick has a style, Wes Anderson has a style, Christopher Nolan pretty much has a style.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of them, besides Wes Anderson, has that big of a style that you can tell each movie apart from like you can't tell, like you can't really tell what movie, like if you just put on Full Metal Jacket right now, you probably wouldn't be able to tell, and you didn't know who directed it, you probably wouldn't be able to say who did unless you knew. But if you put on a Wes Anderson movie and all those shots and all the colors and all that, it's pretty obvious that it's his, because he uses that style in each of his movies, and it really pays off.
So that was
a good talk.
That was our show. So comment below, please post questions, and then we'll pick one, and who knows, your question might be the next topic of discussion.
Maybe.
Thank you.
I love you.